What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Village family? What's going on, new listeners? What's going on, everybody? Let's just keep it there. For those of y'all that I haven't had the chance to meet, my name is Dr. Brandon W. Jones. I am your Chief Village Building Strategist, and I want to welcome you to episode number 42 of the Building the Village podcast. For those of you who have been part of the village since the beginning or have been part of it at least somewhere along the lines in the previous 41 episodes, you're probably looking around and going, oh man, what's going on? What's different? Well, there's a couple of things. One, I've rearranged my home office. And so I have zero decor on this back wall. And so what you got is what you got. And I'm probably blending in with it, but humor me for a couple of weeks until I start getting some decor hanging up behind me. Another thing I'm doing that's a little bit different is it's a little bit earlier in the day since I'm home for the break. I'm shooting at a time that is a little bit sooner than what I would usually record. And so you're going to hear a lot of noise. You're going to hear my kids running around playing. You're going to probably hear the dog barking or whining. My mother-in-law is watching TV in the other room, and my wife is waiting to get back in here so she can get back to work. And, I figured, it's a show called Building the Village. And sometimes I create this ambiance and effect that no one's in the house or around, and that's probably going to be different in the episodes going forward. I'm inspired by what Tim Ross, shout out to Tim Ross and the Basement podcast. I'm inspired by him because his kids pull up during the episode, and he won't stop the recording or nothing or edit it, and he'll literally be having full-on conversations with his kids. And so that's one of the things that I really like about the Basement podcast. And so I'm like, you know what? When I'm recording at home, I might just start letting the noise play into the recording. And so, anyways, thank you all for tuning in. And if this is your first time, if you're a new villager or you're new to the village, why don't you do me a favor at the end of the episode? If you got something out of it, like it, comment on it, subscribe to it, because that's one of the reasons I do this. I want to hear from you all. I want to make sure that I'm putting content out there that's reaching people and connecting with folks. And I hope you get something out of it. And, follow me on all platforms. I'm no longer on Twitter, by the way. I got rid of the B Jones Speaks Twitter account. Didn't really have a lot of followers. Wasn't really getting any traction on there. And so honestly, just got rid of it. So you can follow me at B Jones Speaks on Instagram, at B Jones Speaks on Facebook, and I have a B Jones Speaks page on LinkedIn as well for those of you who are listening to this there. And I'm also on YouTube. I have a B Jones Speaks YouTube channel, and so definitely check me out there. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're getting your podcasts at, rate the episode, subscribe to the podcast, because that's what these algorithms look for. And it really helps boost the awareness of what we're doing here in the village. All right. So, if y'all didn't know this, it's the holiday season as we're currently recording this episode. Christmas was just a few days ago, and we're just 2 days away from entering into the new year, 2025 to be specific. And as is common around this time, people are making New Year's resolutions and making plans on what it is that they want to do. And I want to dive into that topic because I feel it's relevant and it's timely, because this is what people do. And let's face it, most of us like to start the year with resolutions, and sometimes we crush them. Other times, not so much. But have you ever asked yourself, have you ever stopped to consider, well, why is it that I didn't crush that resolution? Or why is it that I wasn't successful? And I think a big part of the challenge really lies in how we understand and approach resolutions. But also, I think we don't understand the difference between resolutions and goals. And that's what we're going to unpack today. And so it's going to be a little bit longer of an episode, but I promise you, if you listen in, I think you're going to get something out of it, because I think we're going to be able to unpack the functional and operational differences between goals and resolutions. And we'll see how these two concepts, understanding them, really can set us up for success in 2025. And so what I want to start with is what a resolution actually is. A resolution is just simply a decision. That's all it is. It's saying, I've decided that I'm going to make a change in a certain area of my life. I've just made the decision. That's what a resolution is. And that's really good. It's good to have those resolutions. It starts with the decision to be successful, or it's the decision to lose weight. It's the decision to actually get serious about fitness or saving money or buying a house. That's good. However, there's a catch to this approach. A resolution doesn't necessarily come with a plan. Pausing for dramatic effect. Resolutions don't necessarily come with plans. It's just a decision without outcomes or actionable steps attached to them. And so if we're not careful, we'll look back on the previous year and we'll ask ourselves, hey, wait a second, why is it that I wasn't successful? It's probably because I didn't put any steps with my resolution. Now, let's talk about goals. Now, goals are much more than a decision. Goals are it's the object of your ambition. A goal is the object of your ambition or your efforts. It's the target that you're aiming for. It's for the result that you want to achieve. And the key difference here is that goals, watch this, goals require action, because without action, it's just a wish. I heard Life Jennings say that a while back. He said, a dream without goals or a plan, that's just wishing. And I don't like living off of wishes, friend, because wishes, y'all know this already. Wishing and hoping are not strategies. And we need more people with goals in the village. Goals are built on steps that lead you to a specific result. So if you're tired of resolutions that don't stick or don't work, let's shift the focus to goals. But I want to talk about some specific goals here, not just any types of goals. And most of you, if not all of you, have probably already heard this, but it bears repeating this particular time of year. And I'm going to talk about SMART goals. All right. There's that acronym SMART, SMART goals. It's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. So let's break down SMART goals for a quick second. So the S in SMART goals stands for specific. Your goals need to be clear and focused. The more narrow the goal, the more effective your planning is going to be. So we don't want to just say, I've made the decision to lose weight. Well, how many pounds do you want to weigh? Or how much money do you want to have saved up? That's specific. Now let's take a pause for some neuro-linguistic programming, some NLP for a quick second. I learned a long time ago that when we're setting goals, the brain is not wired to do loss. So some of us say, I want to lose weight. And then what ends up happening is we end up gaining weight. Well, why is that? Because our brains aren't wired to lose. The brain goes into overdrive trying to protect us, if I'm not mistaken, from loss. And so we want to be careful. We want to be specific, rather, when setting goals. And so instead of saying, I want to lose 50 pounds, I'd much rather us say, I want to weigh 185, or in my case, 199. I want to weigh a certain weight, right? Give it that. Or I want to have a certain amount saved, or I want to have this many speaking gigs. I would like get specific with the quantity or the quality, but don't try to put it in terms of loss. I want to lose 10 people or something like that. You don't want to do that, by the way. If you're cutting people off, I know a lot of people try to cut folks off this time of year. If that's your goal, you don't have to post that on social media. But anyways, let me stay focused on the task at hand. Dr. B can be a little petty sometimes, y'all. Anyways, the M in SMART goals stands for measurable. When something is measurable means that you've achieved it. You will know when you've achieved it. The question you want to ask yourself is, how will I know when I've achieved this goal? Measurability helps, it defines the evidence that will show you that you're making progress. So I will know I'm achieving this goal when I weigh 199 pounds, or if I'm weighing 220 today and I weigh 210 next week, then I will know I'm making progress. Or if my goal is to have $1,000 saved up, I will know I'm making progress when I go from $0 saved to $1 to 50. And progress is progress, by the way. So we're not going to sit here and judge ourselves in 2025 about the goals that we've set. We're not going to judge ourselves for only losing 1 pound in a week or a month. We're not going to judge ourselves. We're going to look at progress, and we're going to start high-fiving ourselves for those micro wins, as Darren Roberts calls it. We're going to high-five ourselves for that in the years ahead, but we got to be specific and measurable. Here's the next thing we got to be. It's got to be attainable. Your goal needs to be realistic. If it's not realistic to have $1 million saved at the end of 2025, don't make $1 million the goal. Now, if it's realistic to say, you know what, I want to at least have $500 saved by December 31st, 2025. That's not only specific, that's not only measurable, it's attainable because you know how much money you make. You know how much money you can put aside. You need to set yourself up for success by aiming for something you can achieve within a specific time frame. And so remember, it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, and more importantly, it's relevant. Ooh, there's the R, relevant. Your goal needs to align with your larger objectives, values, purpose, meaning, whatever the case may be. It's got to be meaningful for you. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. What's the end game here? Why am I doing this? Oh, y'all, I'm excited. Next episode, I don't know if I'm going to do it next week or the following week, because next Tuesday is my birthday. So I might actually drop an episode on my birthday. Y'all let me know if I should do that. Y'all hit me up on social media or put it in the comments on YouTube if I should drop an episode on January 7th. That is my birthday. Shout out to my fellow Capricorns. But listen, your goals need to be relevant. If it's not relevant to you, why is it going to be relevant to other people? And by the way, the episode that I am going to record, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. The episode that I'm going to be talking about on the next one, I'm excited about this because I'm going to be talking about people pleasing. I'm actually going to talk about how and why we need to get away from being people pleasers. Oh my gosh, but I'm not going to give it away. Just tune in on January 7th. Yeah, I'm going to go on ahead and do it. So leave a comment anyway, but yeah, it needs to be relevant. I tell students who want to achieve their PhDs or go to grad school, I ask, why is this relevant? Why is this important for you? Why is this something that you want? Is it something that you want to do, or is this something that you gotta do? And if it's something you gotta do, why? What's that why? Because it's that why that's gonna, hey, when it's late at night and you don't feel like doing the thing, but you do it anyway because you're clear about your why. Doing these podcasts, for me, this year, I leaned in harder than I ever have in all the years I've been doing this podcast, because I made a commitment to myself at the beginning of this year that I was going to really lean into content creation, and that I was going to lean in and make sure that I put things out there because it means something to me. I like connecting with people. I like helping people, and doing this podcast was a way that I felt like I could achieve that. And so it needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant. Here's the last thing. It needs to be time sensitive. You need to set a timeline for your goals, because deadlines create urgency, and that also helps keep us accountable. Somebody out there right now is wondering, how do I keep myself accountable this year with my goals? Shout out to my friend Candace. She was talking to me about her, one of our close friends, her and my friend Robin. Shout out to Robin Grant and Candace Pruitt, who helped inspire this episode, because one of the things they're working on is trying to hold each other accountable with their goals. And so one of the ways to do that is to make sure that it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. You got to set a timeline for your goals, because when we set smart goals, all of them, when we set smart goals, we give our resolutions the structure that they need for us to succeed. Instead of just making the decision to change, we take actionable steps to make the change a reality. So listen, as we step foot into 2025, I want to challenge you to shift your mindset. Don't just create resolutions. I want you all to set goals. I want you all to set goals that are smart, that are actionable, and connected to your vision for growth. Remember, building a better village starts with building yourself first. And so let's make this year one where we don't just dream, we actually get out there and do. Thanks for tuning in to the Building the Village podcast. I wish you all a happy new year. Please be safe. Please have fun. But most importantly, take care of yourselves and each other like this.